rough, huh? I gotta go to that nursing home. What nursing home is it? If you could put that information down for me so I can go see her this week. They're going to put her out. someone else is someone else is coming. We'll wait for them to get. These new Bibles are so great. These new Bibles are so great over there. Uh huh. Just so you all have a new Bible. Do you have a? You have your own? Okay. Okay. We're going to be on page two in the New Testament, page 259. We were at 1 Corinthians chapter 14. We had done 13, so we'll be at 1 Corinthians chapter 14 on page 259 in the. All righty. All right. All right. All right. Uh, Good afternoon, class. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. We welcome you to the Gloria Bradshaw Wednesday noonday Bible study here at Imani Temple Cathedral, the National Cathedral of the African American Catholic Congregation located in Suitland, Maryland. Suitland. God said this was a suitable land for us with a brooks or streams of living water on it, huh? I have to tell you about how God revealed to me that this was going to be the new home of Imani Temple when we relocated from Capitol Hill. And I looked at the address, 2420. That's God. Okay, listen to this. If you add the numbers 2420, what number do you come up with? 8. And 8 represents new beginnings. And God said, I have found land that is suited for you with brooks of living water for your new beginning. And it's all in 2420 Brooks Drive, Suitland, Maryland. Isn't that amazing? Right. So it's good. It's really between Pennsylvania Avenue and Silver Hill Road. Isn't that something? Silver in the capital on Pennsylvania. Sweetland. That's right. I saw that somewhere. Sweet, right? Sweetland. Sweetland. It is a sweet land. Thank you. It is sweet. Let us begin our Wednesday Bible study with sealing ourselves with the sign of the cross as we say together with one voice, I am one with God. I am one with God. Your word, O God, is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. I will read and study your word to show myself approved, so that I may see thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, and follow thee more nearly. Day by day, this I pray. Let the church say amen. We are continuing our study of the spiritual gifts as found in Paul's first letter to the church at Corinth, to the Corinthians, chapters 12, 13, and 14. We've already read, studied, and reviewed 1 Corinthians chapters 12 and 13, and now we look at 1 Corinthians chapter 14, which gives a further explanation on the spiritual gifts. If you're using one of the everything was fine, Brother Alexander. If you're using the New American Bible, the gift of some of you to our cathedral, it's on page 259. In the New Testament, page 259. Okay? So the chapter, 1 Corinthians chapter 14 deals with prophecy greater than tongues. It says, pursue love, but strive eagerly for the spiritual gifts, above all that you may prophesy. For one who speaks in a tongue does not speak to human beings, but to God, for no one listens. He utters mysteries in spirit. On the other hand, one who prophesies does speak to human beings for their building up, encouragement, and solace. Whoever speaks in a tongue whoever speaks in a tongue builds himself up, but whoever prophesies builds up the church. Now I should like all of you to speak in tongues, but even more to prophesy. One who prophesies is greater than the one who speaks in tongues, unless he interprets, so that the church may be built up. Let's pause there for a minute. We're having a discussion. Paul is having a discussion with the early Christian community in Corinth about two particular spiritual gifts. And as we said, a spiritual gift is a charism, a charism. It never hurts to review. A charism is a spiritual gift given to an individual, not for his or her own personal use or benefit, for one's own self-aggrandizement, but it is given for the building up or the edification of the church. So we've heard about a number of these spiritual gifts called charisms, and in chapter 14, in 1 Corinthians chapter 14, Paul is dealing with two of those particular spiritual gifts or charisms, speaking in tongues and prophesying. And while Paul starts out that 14th chapter in 1 Corinthians with pursue love, because we heard that the greatest of all of the charisms is love, he says, but strive eagerly for the spiritual gifts. In other words, strive for those gifts as well. And above all that, you may prophesy. So emphasis is being given on prophecy. We know that the prophets of the Old Testament were known for their prophetic utterances, which is the ability to see into the future before it actually happens, to predict what may occur before it actually takes place. And so Paul is saying that while speaking in tongues is a gift, it's only basically for one's own use. But to prophesy has a beneficial quality that it builds up the body of Christ. It builds up the church so that one who exercises the gift of prophecy is basically one who can forecast or discern what is God's plan for God's people in the future. And that is a particular gift that you can prophesy by studying many different things that can bring forth the prediction of what might occur. For example, nature itself. There is a certain astral energy that one possesses if one is connected to the universe, to the movement of the universe. Some call it astrology. Some call it the signs. But if one studies the planets, for example, it's amazing how everything is ordered in the universe in context of the planets. For example, how many months are there in a year? There are 12 months in a year, right? How many astrological signs are there? 12. Who knows what is a particular astrological period we're in right now? Someone born right now, or who was born, who's had a birthday of Capricorn, right? Capricorn. They say that the sun is in Capricorn. Yes, go ahead, please. Right. Right, good. For those of you who did not hear that point that was being raised by Sister Teresa Lee, who may be watching this on YouTube or some other social media network, she spoke about there being a movement afoot now to move from a 12-month a year to a 13-month year based on the cycle of 28 days per month rather than 30 or 31. And that even those who are having this discussion are talking about even the astrological calendar tending to support that. I have to look that up. I really, please bring that information to me, because it's very interesting that with everything, you know, the 12 months in a year, there are 7 days in a week. And the reason why do you know why there are 7 days in the week as opposed to 8 days in the week? Or 9 days in a week? What have you? And the days maybe 6, and then he rested on the 7th. Okay, but according to nature, according to the planetary system, only 7 planets are visible. to the human eye. Only 7 of the planets are visible. Isn't that amazing? And that so the days of the week are 7 because it's associated with what we can see with the naked eye. It's fascinating. You should study it. I'm not an expert. There's one person that we did have come to Bible study who was really an expert in astrology, but I'm just a novice. But I'm fascinated because with the Magi watching the star at Jesus. They saw a star brighter than any other star rising at announcing the birth of the Messiah. And they followed that star to where it led them to Bethlehem, where Jesus was born. It is very clear that even the wise men, and they weren't astrologers, they were astronomers who studied the galaxy, who studied the stars, but they realized that the planet, that God has so ordered nature. Understand that God has so ordered nature and put everything into place, into its proper place, and that everything ebbs and flows in a certain pattern on a consistent basis. That the only thing that is in God's creation that is out of kilter, out of order is us. We are out of sync. We're out of kilter with the universe, with God's ordered design. That the only way that we are going to find ourselves back into a harmony with this universe, which was created for us. That's the spectacular piece about this, that God created the universe just for us. He created everything in the universe to be at our command. That's why when we read in Genesis, where God creates Adam and Eve in his own image and likeness, and he gave them 3 great blessings, which were man and woman's responsibility to perfect. God gave them 3 great blessings. He told them to be fruitful, to multiply, and to have dominion. Those were the 3 great blessings that God gave humankind from the very beginning. To be fruitful meant to reach a level of personal, spiritual maturation or perfection, which is divine alignment. It doesn't mean we don't make mistakes. It doesn't mean we're good at what's that expression? Good at good shoe or something. It doesn't mean that we never fall. Good at 2 shoes. Is that what it is? Yes. It means that we are seeking to place our lives in alignment with our Creator. And whenever we strive to be in sync, in harmony, in unity with God, everything in the universe opens up to us. And we can achieve all things, we can accomplish all things. But when we are in disarray, in disorder, in disunity with our Creator, it also places us in disunity, disharmony with the universe. And even in Romans, if we go back to Romans, the very first chapter of Romans chapter 1, look at Romans chapter 1, verse 20. Go back to Romans, the book, Paul's letter to the church at Rome, Romans chapter 1, and let us look at verse 20. It says, ever since the creation of the world, his, namely God's, invisible attributes of eternal power and divinity have been able to be understood and perceived in what he has made. There it is right there. It tells us that. I want to read that again in Romans chapter 1, verse 20. Ever since the creation of the world, ever since God put the world into existence, ever since he created it, God's invisible attributes, because God is invisible and eternal, his invisible attributes of eternal power and divinity, that which is in God, eternal power and divinity, have been able to be understood and perceived in what he has made, by the creation he has made. So if we study creation, we can study God, we can come to an understanding of the invisible attributes of the eternal power and divinity of God. That's awesome, isn't it? So that there's certain things, we used to see that in the movies, in the sci-fi movies, about what happened on a full moon. Remember that that's when the wolves came out. That's when that's when the vampires and all that. The full moon, because our bodies, believe it or not, our bodies respond to nature, to what's going on in nature. And if you study the cycles that are going on, you realize that's why I feel the way. That's why I feel downcast today. That's why I feel lethargic today. Or that's why I feel energized. We're in a period right now, astrologically, where you should feel a certain surge of energy. There should be something exciting, something good is happening on the horizon. We just had a full moon, on January 6th, and there's going to be another full moon in later January. So this is an exciting period. It's an exciting time for us. You should be trying to get a project completed, trying to use your creativity. This is a good time. Money. Anybody need any extra money? Has anyone got a little extra money this month that one didn't anticipate? Did any of you get it? Okay, see, there's a testimony. Huh? See that? That's an increase. See, that Social Security. See, nature said that's supposed to happen. Isn't that amazing? But there are times when we don't get anything, when everything is dried up. So, so I'm saying that, I don't hear brother. So I'm saying that those who believe it or not, those who prophesy, who have the gift of prophecy, are in tune with the laws of nature and what is taking place at this time. That's how I got into that big discussion on astrology. That a lot of people think astrology is evil, it's bad, but it's not. It's nature. It's nature responding to the divine order that it possesses because God created it. And everything that God created is good. How can we say that astrology is bad when everything that God created is good? And that all God is saying, if you want to know how I function, if you want to know how you should function in harmony with me, look at the universe. You can discover me through looking at nature. You can understand my divine plan. You can define